Hey everyone, Let's Lounge here. In this video, I want to show you something. It's actually a project that I'm working on currently, and I just pulled this clip off so I could show you some of the benefits, but also some of the challenges of working with flat footage. So this clip here is a very simple clip. It's just pulled off of a current project, and you can tell it's a very flat image. There's barely any contrast. The colors are a little bit muted. The sharpness is actually not really even there. This was shot on a Blackmagic Cinema Pocket 6K, and it's downsampled to 1080 just so it's a little bit easier to deliver to clients. But I'm going to just do a really quick color grade on this image to show you some of the things I kind of think about when I'm trying to edit some flat footage. So my goal with this clip, especially with the whole project, but my goal for this one specific clip is I'm basically going to try to turn this from a flat clip to a more cinematic looking clip. And I'm going to basically do this only using the basic color board in Final Cut. So I'm just going to throw that in there, some little color grades, and plus some other little things that you can do to your images to make them look a little bit more cinematic. So the first thing I'm going to do is just actually jump right into the color grade. So this is the clip. I'm just going to play it real quick. It's just a very small pan up with them and they're pointing to something on the roof. So I'm going to click over here. I'm going to go to my color board, and the first thing I'm going to do is start with the exposure. I'm going to automatically bring the black tones or the shadows down. I want it to be a little bit more shadowy. I don't much like with if you're editing photos, a lot of people like to take the shadows up, but with video you kind of want them to be a little bit more dark. So I automatically bring them down. The highlights, I'm actually going to take those up a little bit. And what we're doing is basically just going to make like a straight line going up. You're going to play with it a little bit, but basically just I'm making a straight line going up here. Once I have my highlights up and my shadows down, I can play with the midtones to kind of give a little bit more contrast where I want it. So probably right around there, and then maybe take the shadows down a little bit more. So just with that quick grade, we went from a very flat clip to this more contrasty clip. So we also mentioned that the colors were a little bit muted. I'm going to take the master saturation up a little bit. You can see right there. It's a little bit too blue, so the white balance was off. So what I'm basically trying to do is concentrate on the colors of the jacket to make those punch off a little bit more. I'm not going to mess with any of the highlights or the midtones or anything like that as far as the individual colors. The master color usually helps with a lot of the footage. So I'm just going to drag that up. If I need to come back, obviously, I can do that. So if I want the shadows to have a little bit more saturation, I can do that just like that as well. So now we get into the big one, the color. A lot of people will go into the color wheel, as you can see right here on the just general color board. We can go in here, do the wheels, the curves, that kind of thing. I like to try to get it just with the main color board if I can. So what I typically do with is go ahead and go to the midtones here, right here in this gray section here. I click that, and I can either go up to make it more cooler, or I can go down to warm it up a little bit. So obviously the image or the video was on the cooler side to begin with. So I'm just going to drag this pretty much straight down and just add a little bit more warmth in there. And you can see it's already looking a little bit better, more natural. It was a perfectly blue sky, so there's really not a lot of definition in there. So it was a very bright, very bright scene. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do for that one. I can play with a little bit more of the colors, especially in the shadows over here, to maybe warm those up a little bit. I can drag those in, kind of go over a little bit as well to right around there, and that looks pretty good. So just with those simple changes in the basic color board, we went from this to this. It looks way better, 100% better. So now that we have that done, this is what our clip looks like. You can see we're just kind of panning up again. So once we've done that color grade, now we need to move into a couple of the other things that make it a little bit more cinematic. So you can see right here our playback speed is at 100%. So this was shot at 50 frames per second, and this is a 24 frame project, or 24 frame rate project. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and change the frame rate to match the frame rate of the project. So the easiest way to do that, and I've made a full video on this if you want to check it out. I'm going to click on the time section here and go to automatic speed. It's going to automatically slow it down to 48%. You can see right here. So now it's a more slow-mo kind of project. You can see it's definitely not moving as fast. And it also helps when you slow the image down, helps with a little bit of the jitter that might be in the video. This was shot on a gimbal, but there still was a little bit of roll jitter, and that definitely took it out right there. So you can see it's very slow-mo. Looks pretty cool. So we're going to shrink this down a little bit so we can see the whole project. So now one of the other things we can do to make it a little more cinematic is actually add some letterboxing. So I'm going to click on my image. I'm going to go over to my video inspector, and you can do this to individual clips, but mainly for the whole project I'm going to add letterboxing to the whole project, but I'm going to show you on this one specific clip. So I'm going to go over to my crop section here, and I'm going to concentrate on the top and bottom. Usually I like to stick with the same number of pixels on top and bottom, and that's 140. I'm going to type that in there, and then 140 here. There we go. And you can see it adds a little bit of a letterboxing here. If I want a little bit more, I can usually stick with the 140 or 200. So I can do a 200 as well. So type in 200 there and go down 200 there. And you can see it gives a little bit more letterboxing. It's totally up to you how much you want. But if you get too much letterboxing, it starts to look a little weird. So I like to keep it around that point there. So this is what we have here, and it definitely looks a lot more cinematic. Honestly, one of the things you can quickly do to all of your footage to make it look more cinematic is the letterboxing. That's a very popular thing. So now what we can do if we wanted to, which I'm actually cool with the way this looks right here, we can actually add some LUT effects to our video project here. So go down here and go into color. Let's see, right here we can just do a custom LUT over here, drag that on, and now we can apply a LUT if we want to. So we can play with a couple of these. That one doesn't really fit the scene, so maybe right there, that kind of dulls it a little bit. And you can just run through a couple of these depending on what you want your scene to look like. It's totally up to you, but we're really just messing around with some of the colors here. And I'm just looking at the ones that are just saved into my project. So, you know, just playing around with some of these, maybe this one, that one's kind of fun. And then we can also take the mix down a little bit more. So right around there. So it adds a little bit, but not a whole lot. So basically this is our final clip. So if we wanted to see the before and after here, so this is the before clip with nothing added. And then this is the after clip. There you go, guys. Just a couple quick things to think about when you're editing your videos. This is obviously just one clip out of a whole project, but I was editing some flat footage and just wanted to show you some of the things that I do to make it look a little more cinematic. So thank you guys for joining me in this one. Head over to lutslounge.com. We got a lot more fun stuff over there. Some of the LUTs that you might have just seen sampled in through here. But I appreciate you guys for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.